Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so excited to be here with you. It is Monday morning. I'm Dave Luer, your host of Motivation Weekly. We are on week 13 already of our Law of Success series. We are going through each lesson of this incredible book called The Law of Success. It was written back in 1925. And so each week I'm pulling out a lesson, and today is going to be an extra special lesson. I promise you. Law of Success, lesson number 13 on failure. Welcome everybody to Motivation Weekly. All of the laws of success that we have discussed up to now, all of these have in one way or another majorly impacted my life. It's very personal for me, right? And if not for each of them, I wouldn't have achieved what I have in my life up to this point, okay? However, this lesson today in particular is very personal and very meaningful to me. And I hope it will be to you if you can embrace it. The topic of failure it's been a personal battle for me. Well, like a lot of people, right? Whether you realize it or not. And I know that some of you guys have dealt with failure. Right? So the difference between success, right, and failure is how you view failure. So it was my ability to literally change the meaning of failure for me that finally set me free in 2014. So I was asked on a recent podcast, they were interviewing me and they said, if you could go back and tell a younger version of yourself one thing, what would it be? And my answer, of course, was fail brilliantly. Okay, so in this brief but impactful lesson today, I'm going to explain why I say fail brilliantly. Does that seem a little unexpected? For most people, we have become so accustomed to the word failure being of a negative connotation. We see this word as a negative thing when it really isn't. Okay, millions and millions of people have been unnecessarily stricken with grief, poor self-esteem, and the resulting limitations to their potential because of their beliefs surrounding the meaning of this word. So often in life, our limitations to success and a joyful life are based on beliefs that are simply wrong, ladies and gentlemen, right? A belief is the meaning that we give to things or situations or circumstances in our life. When we hold a belief that failure is a bad thing, then we try to avoid it, don't we? The problem is that when we do everything that we possibly can to avoid failure, we never really achieve success either, because it causes us not to try hard enough. It's like when you're trying to learn a bike. Remember, you had to fall down a few times before you were able to successfully ride a bike. You had to strike out at bat a few times in order to hit that home run. You had to strike out on a few dates with those girls, right, before you got that date with that hot chick, right? But you had to go out and fail in order to learn how to succeed. Failure is just temporary defeat, my friends. It's necessary. Okay, have you ever thought of it like that? The wrong kind of failure happens only when you permanently give up on your dreams. We need to learn to embrace temporary defeat, my friends. A person that I was really surprised to have learned that experienced failure many, many, many times was the author of this book, Napoleon Hill. Right? He is certainly an authority on the subject, as over a 25-year span between the time he was originally challenged by Andrew Carnegie to go out and capture the laws of successful men, he personally suffered many losses throughout one of the most tumultuous periods in our nation's history. World wars, pandemics, the Great Depression. This dude lost everything multiple times in his life, long before his first book was even published, right? even as he was writing this book, there were periods of time that he was completely penniless, but that didn't stop him. So in my own life, one of the reasons I'm so damn passionate about this subject of failure is because my world was rocked big time back in the early 1990s. I suffered failure on a big scale, right? I was this confident young man that had never really experienced serious failure before, right? I didn't know what it felt like. So back in my early 20s, I'd already built a $1 million business. I was already married, in my early 20s. But only a few short later, due to various reasons, I lost it all. I lost the business, right? I lost the wife, right? And then my mother died, the only rock that I had left. I was broke and completely broken. And quite frankly, I gave up. Okay. So over the next 15 years or so, I went on to work for others and I did a good job. I mean, some people considered me successful, but I still had this heart of an entrepreneur that, I was shielding from pain of failure. I wasn't living my best self. So even in 2012, I think it was, the company that I was working for here in Nashville was purchased by another company. This was like a dream job for me, or at least so I thought at the time, right? I worked hard for a couple years to help build this incredible company, and then only to see all of my work literally thrown into the dumpsters out back by the acquiring company. Sure, I was a little bitter for a while, but the real problem here was that it wasn't that I failed all those years ago. It was that I had walked through the fog of mediocrity for nearly 20 years until I had my big WTF moment. You know what that is, right? WTF? No, it doesn't mean that. It means winning through failure. Fortunately, a good coach and mentor came into my life that helped me realize that all these failures that I had were necessary. It literally set me free, right? I live each moment, not necessarily trying to fail, right? I don't mean that, but embracing temporary feats in the spirit of personal and business growth. And you can too. This realization has totally changed my life. It's like I'm like this, animal that's finally been let off its chain. Listen, the biggest reason that people are afraid of failure is the perceived pain that they associate with the word failure, right? The fear of what other people think of you, the fear of being broke. There's so many different causes and types of fear that are associated with that. But when you view failure as an opportunity to learn, and you're willing to embrace some temporary pain once in a while, you are set free, man. Perhaps it's society's, I think it's society that sometimes views failure, and because of that, it makes you afraid of it, right? Just remember that 99% of society is wrong. They're wrong, right? And that's why they are stuck in mediocrity instead of living an amazing life of abundance that is available to all of us. You, my friend, from this day forward, are a 1%er. Henry Ford said, failure is simply an opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently. Thomas Edison, who failed over 10,000 times on his path to the creation of the electric light bulb, said, I am not discouraged because every wrong attempt discarded is another step forward. Listen carefully, my friends. I want you to really understand the vast importance of today's message to your level of success and happiness. You want these things, don't you? If you have tried and met with defeat, if you have planned and watched your plans as they were crushed before your eyes, just remember that the greatest men and women in all of history were products of courage. And courage, is born in the cradle of adversity. I'm going to read one of my favorite things ever. This was by Theodore Roosevelt. So bear with me here. I'm going to read, Body Shop Guy reading poetry here. It's called The Man in the Arena. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. Love that. That is a powerful, powerful message. I hope that you will take the information that you learned today and put it to practical use. A great place to start is to simply start becoming aware of your fear when you encounter opportunities that you could fail at, and then to reframe it into a different meaning to you. Failure equals good, right? So go out this week, my friends, fail brilliantly, and we will see you next Monday for lesson 14, the law of success about cooperation. So if you're watching today's program for the first time, we have lessons 1 through 12 of the laws of success recorded for your viewing pleasure at the Dave Luer YouTube channel. I can't wait to see y'all next Monday. Have a great week, my friends.